What's up, guys, and welcome back to Paint Bravely, the podcast where you can find a little bit of encouragement, discover new ways to make your hobby more fun, and most importantly, learn to paint bravely. Now, we did want to start off this episode this week. Brent obviously opening his delicious whatever that is, I have no idea, and saying sorry. We're sorry. Last week's episode was interesting. It was kind of an emergency episode because we flew to Florida to go to the Warhammer US Open tournament, and we sat down with our friend Danny from 3D Printed Tabletop, shot an entire podcast, like a real funny, probably the best episode we've ever done, and our first guest on top of that. And all of the audio was weirdly corrupt from the source, from Danny's actual recorder, which, weirdly enough, we were using all day. So, you know, it's just something that happens. I know it kind of threw some people off. So we just wanted to say we're sorry.
Yeah. So last week for episode 39, we took that video footage of us hanging out with Danny and we re-recorded the audio, just Casey and I, like the night before the podcast went up. We're just like, ooh, we need a podcast, don't we? Because this is an audio format and we don't have any audio. So we turned on our equipment, we re-recorded some audio. I have no memory of the second recording of episode 39. So we're sorry. So we know that almost all of episode 39 was just a visual gag where we put rushed audio over really, really nice video of the three of us hanging out, Casey and Brent and Danny, all in the same room. And we thought it'd be really funny just to put the Paint Bravely icon, you know, the logo over Danny's face. And so we got that same gag going of picture of Brent, picture of Casey, Paint Bravely logo right in the middle. And every once in a while you can kind of see gesticulating Danny arms from behind the logo. It was a funny gag.
I thought so.
But that was really all episode 39 had to it, as far as I remember. And
I mean, we recorded it fast. We're really fast.
I mean, I think it was a pretty good gag. Like, as far as stupid visual gags go, that's good. But really, an episode should have more than that in it, and we're sorry. So, we're here. We are on episode 40 of Paint Bravely, the podcast. It's a fresh podcast. We wrote down some things to talk about today. Yeah, let's go. So, I actually did want to bring up something real quick that I think we forgot to mention last week.
Okay.
So when we got together in person down in Florida, we forgot to mention this, but it turns out we actually like each other and we're actually friends.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably the most important thing to mention. So
yes.
Yeah, so there was one podcast I listened to, like a YouTube podcast. It was Tech Yes City and some other like computer streamer. So one of my hobbies from 5-6 years back was building custom computers, and that hobby kind of burns itself out once you have like a computer for your desk and a computer for your TV, and then you don't need to build any more computers. But there was a YouTube channel I really liked called Tech Yes City, and it's this Australian guy who drives around and goes on Gumtree and buys computer parts in Australia and puts together computers. And he had like a little podcast with an American person who kind of does a similar thing.
Yeah.
And for one episode of their podcast, they were both going to a convention in California. And then after that day, their podcast just ended. And there was one episode of Tech Yes City where the guy's like, turns out we didn't actually like each other, so we're not going to do that anymore.
Wow. So fear not, Paint Bravely listener. Brent and I are we're chums. We're good old pals. No big deal, you know? So I don't know. I'm not surprised by that at all. Like, I don't know. But it's an interesting thing to think about, like never having actually met somebody in real life and then meeting up, like what is that dynamic actually like, right? Because that could have been awkward, but it wasn't.
So rest assured.
We're not going anywhere.
I think that was the most important message from the lost episode 39.
Right.
I think the other message was to support Danny's Kickstarter, but that's
true.
done now.
Although I think late pledges are still open.
Yeah, from the Lost
because
Adventures, and I forgot the subtitle of this one. I think the subtitle is more important on this one. The Lost Adventures Volume 3.
I said it last time several times.
Okay. Well, let's move on with today's episode, Casey. What are we talking about today? Fresh start.
A lot of the stuff today, I know there's some stuff that we've been doing, but because we recorded so quickly after the last one, because the video thing, we haven't had that like same amount of time in between. So there's some stuff that we've kind of been up to. I think I've been up to a little bit more than Brent has, but whatever. Otherwise, we have some new stuff that we want to talk about. And I guess I'll start since I have more stuff. But I'm well underway with my OCR Bone Reapers eBay army. So I've got a pretty massive army that I bought for $150, and somebody sent me a Nagash in the mail, and I don't remember who it was, or else I would mention it. But so the actual army is well over 2,000 points, and it looks like hot garbage. Like the Nagash actually looked pretty good, but the Bone Reapers were just trashed. So I've been spending a lot of time stripping paint, getting a bunch of stuff ready for those, and I'm pretty excited because it's like a 2,000 point army that I just kind of picked up randomly. That's not something you see every day, so I like that.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. And it makes it a little more interesting if you run into some surprises with poor assembly and nasty old caked on paint and all that.
Well, one of the things I'm gonna have to mention that I'm not gonna go back and fix is that one of the like harbingers or whatever they're called, the big floaty winged ghostly skeleton dudes, the arms are like upside down, like the hands are backwards and upside down, holding the staff. So it's like like how you would hold a snake, I presume, with or a loaf of bread with your hands out. Right.
So were the hands actually on the wrong side of the body? Because I've looked at some of my old models from 8th grade or whatever.
Yeah,
and I've definitely done that to some goblins. Like just a goblin has a spear in the wrong hand, and then I look closely and I'm like, that is the mirror image of the hand that should be on that side of the body.
Yes, they're absolutely on the incorrect. In fact, this hand, it looks stupid, and the armor's like upside down on each arm. It's like the whole arm is actually, I think they just put the wrong arms on the wrong sides.
At least
it's like it's hard to tell from far away, but up close it looks stupid.
At least with undead creations, you can sort of justify that the bones got all mixed up. There's ways around it. If there's just a goblin whose thumb is like in the wrong place. A little bit harder.
I've done that. I think one of my orcs in my orc army has a hand that's backwards. It's like he's got 2 left arms or something.
It happens.
But it like somehow fits. Yeah.
The left arms had all the good weapons in that kit. I understand.
For real, yeah.
I understand.
Yeah. You need 2 sluggers? Well, sorry. Let's get two left arms. That's how that works. Oh man.
Totally. Yeah.
Speaking of orcs, I bought a lot of orcs. I mean, I have a lot of orcs.
Right.
But those new orcs came out. And I bought them.
Okay.
I bought those orcs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. This week has been a week. Man, like I've spent some money this week.
I'm glad.
I mean, I'm glad.
Well, I mean,
sort of.
I'm glad. Sorry, I should rephrase that. I am glad that you have been doing stuff to fill out time on this podcast because
right.
I spent like 3 days of the past 7 playing Minecraft, which I mean we can get into. There's some parallels here, but
sure parallels. I've never played Minecraft.
Okay. I think it does appeal to a lot of the same things that building and, crafting appeals to.
Sure,
It's
sure. Yeah.
like a computer generated landscape of, all the bricks of dirt and stone and lava and water and everything. And yeah, you just run around, you pick up those bricks and you rearrange them however you want, and you end up with a nice little pagoda, a nice little village. Or in my case, your friends make a nice little village, and right next to the nice little village, you build a gigantic, geometrically perfect skyscraper with lava flowing down it because just to show them
that's
up.
what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I can see how that'd be fun playing with other people in the same server kind of a deal.
Oh yeah.
Otherwise, like, how many armies have you finished, Brent?
What are we talking about here, Casey? Come on.
Saying
finished 0. You know this. Come on.
0.
Don't be an
I'm
a-hole.
on like 9th for the year. It's fine. No, I don't know. Like, I get the idea. I don't like building models per se. Like, I like painting them and stuff, but I've never really enjoyed the sitting down and building. It's like, I like Legos, which I feel like that's more of what I would say is at least what I've seen of Minecraft. It's like, well, that feels like
I
something
think a
I
lot
should
of
be
this
into.
all goes together. It's getting some idea in your head, some vision of something that you want to create, a way that you want it to look, and then getting involved with the sort of tactile minutia of putting it together and solving the little problems and making it come to life. So that's mini painting, that's Minecraft, that's Legos. All this stuff appeals to a lot of the same people, I think.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. No, it definitely does. I don't know. I haven't been playing video games nearly as much as I'd like to. Like, I have purchased lots of video games over the last 2 years. Like, I'm still buying games on Steam, still buying, PlayStation games or Xbox games, whatever. And I just literally haven't even picked up a controller to play a game. Like, so it was Labor Day a few days ago, right? My son didn't have school, so I took him over to the GameStop. And it was like, oh, let's pick out a fun game. So I picked out one of the, like a Lego game. What was it? The Incredibles, Disney Lego game, right?
Okay.
It's like, this seems fine. He likes all these things, put them all together. And like, that is the first game I've played in like 2 years. And it was like for 20 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah. It's not great. I have a problem.
It's a good release once in a while. And, Minecraft, I'd actually recommend Minecraft. Okay. Serious recommendation. But that's not what this channel's about. But
that's true.
If it were about video games, we could definitely get into it.
Yeah, welcome to Mine Bravely, where you can learn to build and lava and stuff.
So every once in a while I was playing Minecraft, the doorbell would ring and I'd get like a mail delivery. So I did buy myself some Monument Hobbies Monumental Pro Acryl Paints this week.
Pro Acryl,
and so those showed up in the mail nice and timely. And I also got myself an order from Michigan Toy Soldier. I got some MIG ammo, enamel washes, enamel panel liner, that kind of stuff.
Which washes did you pick up?
Well,
did you get the
I'm glad you asked.
Standard rust wash?
I
just picked up a
black
MIG
wash. I got a dark wash. I got a brown. Hold on, this one might be rust.
There's one that's
rust
like
effect.
Yeah, there's like a streaking rust effect that is. I accidentally bought a second bottle of the other day.
All right.
Like, I went to the hobby shop and I'm like, I need some more MIG stuff. I need to grab some more of this enamel wash stuff, And I'm like, ooh, this one looks great. And I came home and the other bottle of it is still on my desk unopened. And I'm like, oh yeah,
great.
I forgot. Like, yeah, it looked good a month ago too.
Yeah. So I think we've talked about this before, but my local shop has Army Painter stuff and Citadel stuff. And there's good stuff in both of those lines, but sometimes you just want to go out there and get yourself a whole bunch of different enamel washes. And I haven't tried these yet, but I did just start trying the Pro Acryl Paints. and
Yeah.
so far so good. Have you
Yeah.
dug into yours yet?
So I actually just got the standard paint set from Pro Acryl
Hey, me
in the
too.
mail. Like, yeah, it was. I think I got mine like couple weeks ago. Um, I've set all of them up. They're actually on my desk and ready to go. I've opened like 3 of them, and
Okay.
I haven't used any of them through an airbrush yet. I've only actually used them with a paintbrush, and so far I've been pretty happy with it. They blend really nicely.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're pretty opaque, and they have a good consistency. Like they're a little more, I guess, thinned down feeling than other paints, but like they still feel good. They're more like Vallejo than Citadel.
No,
But they feel good.
They're more thinned down than Vallejo. I'd
More
put
than
them
Vallejo, yeah.
I'd put them closer to Reaper, but not quite as thin as Reaper is where I'd put them. And yeah, so they come with little glass beads in there, but I spent some time taking off they've got an inner seal. They're shipped with an inner seal, so I spent some time taking off the inner seal, putting an extra glass bead into each of them, shaking them all up. And
nice.
I've been working on a set of Relic Blade minis. So yeah, we mentioned this I think last week. Again,
you said you were reading the rule book
hazy
for the first time in your whole life, so that was a huge revelation. So you finished the rule book?
Yeah, I was reading like the supplemental rule book today, actually, for Relic Blade.
Supplemental, even.
They've got. Well, it's more of the setting book. A little bit of the lore. There's a little bit more art in there.
Okay.
And
branching out.
Yeah. Ordinarily, the war-torn fantasy landscape, like the alternate 1600s where a portal is opened in the bottom of the sea, and okay, you look just what many, but this case was like, all right, yeah, okay, this is a decent setting, I like it, but it goes along really nicely with the art, which I really do like, and the art really goes with the models very nicely, and the character cards for the actual gameplay are beautiful, and like a lot of the rules are on the cards themselves. And so it makes the rule book easy to read, easy to understand. Yes. Yeah.
I might have to check that out then. I didn't realize they had like cards like that. That's cool.
Yeah, there's actually some decent crossover with the X-Wing miniatures game, which I think I saw that you were getting into too. But
gonna be bringing that up. Yeah.
Yeah, Relic Blade the game. I have yet to play a game, but I'm actually like trying to recruit some local friends because I actually like, and this is a weird thing for me. Normally it is ethereal, like someday I'll play this game. Someday some random yet to be defined person will want to play this game with me. And well, I guess I better have some painted minis for that occasion, which may happen someday.
I mean, I said like that to myself about like Kill Team, then it happened. So I'm just saying.
Hey.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. So that is just the motivation that you need to have a purpose in painting a fun little kill team. And so normally for me too, it's like the framework, the justification for getting this little team together and getting it painted up. But yeah, like I said, Relic Blade, this is one case where I actually want to play this game. It actually looks like fun. So we'll see. But it so far it feels almost a combination between the video game Darkest Dungeon, where you have a group of like 4 archetypes. You got your bounty hunter and your knight and your witch doctor or whatever. So it's a little bit of that, and it's also a little bit of the X-Wing miniatures game, just the way that you kind of have upgrade cards to go with these various characters, and the way that the mini is a big part of it, but then the rules for that mini are mostly contained in a card and then a couple of upgrades for it. But no.
Sweet. That's not bad. Well, since you mentioned it, I did end up finally, after years of like looking at it, and wanting to get it, I bought a little bit of that X-Wing miniatures game. Nice. So I bought the base set. Apparently there's a new version out. Looks exactly the same as the old version. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not quite sure what the difference is yet. I think I may have screwed myself over because I bought some other ships too. And it's like, now I don't know if they're version 1 or version 2. I don't know if there's, I don't know, somebody down in the comments if there's any place to go for like clarification, or if you just have a quick.
So here's my understanding.
That'd be great.
The last I knew, there was like 2 editions of X-Wing.
Yeah.
And so the ships themselves are fine through any edition. And what they did for the second edition is they kind of had like an upgrade pack where they had the spinners and the upgrade cards that are all the rules for the second edition. And so somewhere, and that changeover happened a couple years ago. So probably most of the stuff that's like new in store these days is second edition, but you know,
that would be great.
Double check.
Because the way that I saw it was like, I bought, so like I bought the base set, I bought a TIE bomber, and then I bought the Slave One, right? Because of course you do. And then I was like reading through, and it was like, oh, this ship, right? It was like in the packaging, like this is good for version 2, and then it wasn't in the other one. But then like the stuff you're talking about was, so I guess it is. Like, I don't know, that freaked me out because then it's like, great. Like, did I just go and spend a bunch of money for no reason at all? And like, this store just has this old stock and they're just jerks, like, for not mentioning anything, you know? Because I hate that. It's ridiculous.
So are you planning on doing any repaints, or are you just having fun with the actual miniature game for Star Wars X-Wing?
I mean, to be honest, like, the paint jobs are really good.
Pretty good.
So like, no, I'm not going to be repainting these because I will do a worse job. Like, that's
how I feel too. Yeah, they've got their system there.
Yeah, like, and whatever they're doing, it's working because they look. Yeah,
they've
sweet.
Just got the right gray primers on there. They know exactly which panels of the armor plates to actually paint. They know how, you know, just a little bit of dry brushing, a little bit of panel lining, I think, and whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
They've got a system that looks really good on these Star Wars ships for the X-Wing miniature game. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have a feeling it's probably because a lot of Star Wars is so lived in that like a little bit of, you know, overpaint or a little bit of excess oil wash or whatever their panel liner was that didn't get cleaned up, or at least, you know, like a little bit of grime just works with the universe. So it's like, it doesn't even matter that the paint job isn't 100%, but it looks just like out of the movie. So it's great, right? This works. So yeah, like no way I'm going to repaint any of them. Like that would be ridiculous. I know people do. I've seen it, but I don't see why.
Yeah, and it's a fun game. I mean,
played.
You know, it's been a couple of years since I've played, but it's a really fun system. So there's the ships that represent your starfighters, and each person has a couple depending on, you know, how big the game is. And there's these little like decoder rings, essentially, where you and your opponent each decide like which direction your ships are gonna turn and how far they're gonna go and what they're gonna do, and then you kind of each secretly lock in orders for your starfighters.
Right, and so you can't just be like, no, I was turning. I was gonna turn. No, you weren't.
So like your X-Wing has an options of, you know, it can do a hard left turn or a hard right turn, and you know, this is how far it can go. And so all those options are on the little decoder ring, and so you kind of secretly lock in your orders for each ship, and you each assign that. And then it's pretty fun to, you know, on the turnover of the turn to then see where everybody ends up and if any ships crash into each other, and you know, if you got somebody on your tail or if you're in a good firing position. It's a fun game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't play it enough to see if like you eventually get into the, you know, super optimized setup of like, you know, just X-Wings aren't even good, and the only thing you want is like the super weird E-Wing that they had to release, and like
I noticed that. I started going like a little bit deeper in, like looking on eBay, you know, for lots of just ships, right? Because it's like man, if I don't have to paint these and I can just collect Star Wars ships, like, yeah,
Mhm.
I'll do that. That's
Right.
sweet, because these are not that expensive for models.
Yeah.
You know, like even
They're like
the Boba Fett
$15
ship, yeah,
for a nicely painted Y-wing, you know? Yeah.
yeah. And I mean, it's quality. Like the plastic is hard. It's not like cheap. It doesn't feel cheap. You know, it's not like that bendy garbage.
I think it is
You know, it felt
PVC, but
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's not bendy, mostly.
I mean, at least the ones that I've got aren't too bad. The X-Wing was a little iffy, but it also had the actual moving like X-Wing.
Mm.
So like, you know, it kind of made up for it a little bit. So I don't know. I was pretty impressed overall. But yeah, like there's a lot of ships, man. Like they released a lot of weird crap for this game, like to fill out that whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, for some games, you just make up a different type of Space Marine, and for Star Wars, like once you've done X, Y, B, and A wings, then you're making stuff up.
Where are you
like,
gonna go? Did they though? I wonder, like, how much of it is in canon somewhere.
I mean, you know, the various books and stuff will occasionally make up a new ship to, you know, so the author can have a little bit of fun with it or whatever. But
yeah.
and I gotta say, like the Mandalorian and the various cartoons and stuff are doing a pretty good job of introducing new vehicle types and then putting them alongside TIE fighters and then having them show up enough times so they're like, okay, this is a vehicle in the Star Wars universe now.
Right.
So they're actually doing a pretty good job with that.
That's a good point, actually. I didn't really think about that. Yeah.
I'm glad you're having fun with X-Wing. That's awesome.
I mean, yeah, it's right now. It's like that kind of like collecting discovery phase, right? I haven't even. I did punch out all the little chits and all the stuff. So the box is like good to go now. So hopefully I will actually get to play it. Now the interesting thing is, so you know that candy skirmish game I was talking about, like I don't know, a month ago or so. I was like working on this rando skirmish game idea with my wife. You don't remember that at all? Yeah, okay.
No, I do. Yeah.
So we've been expanding on that, and I've actually started to write things down. It's gone into new territory and new other things, right? I don't want to go too in depth with that because I think it's still a long way off. But it's a weird thing that's just kind of organically starting to happen, which I find pretty interesting. But now, you know, I in talking mechanics and certain other things, she's becoming interested in skirmish games because that's kind of the idea, right? And it's like, well, you need to play skirmish games in order to understand skirmish games, right? So that's partially why I picked that up, because I'm like, okay, well, I got Kill Team, I got Warcry, I got like, you know, I did the, what was it, 1-page rules, has a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I've been picking up skirmish games left and right. So yeah, this is just another one on top of that to kind of go through. Yeah, so I'm kind of excited for that. That's, again, like I think it's gonna be a long-term, long burn kind of thing, but there's a very small possibility that we'll end up with a game on the other end of that.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say that the initial phases of picking up a smaller, easier to learn game are a lot of fun. Like the first couple of games of X-Wing that you play or something like that are really fun, or Magic or anything else is just the discovery phase of like, oh yeah, this is really cool. Oh yeah, like A-Wings are gonna be my thing. Oh yeah, like, you know, that is a lot of fun. Like once you, and I don't know if this is a problem with every game, but yeah, kind of once you've gone through the initial discovery and you're starting to be like, oh, the best strategy is just to take the Millennium Falcon and give it every upgrade possible. Like once you get to that phase where everybody is running the Fat Han list, you know, then
that is literally my next step. No joke. They didn't have it at the store. They had the Slave one. They didn't have Millennium Falcon, so I couldn't get that yet. But that was going to be the plan, because obviously I've seen it before. Like I've seen all these things in person. Like I've been to a tournament where tons of people are playing X-Wing. It looks awesome. They even have this like little 3D on little pylon asteroids that you can set up all over the field. And they're like actual 3D printed asteroids. They look rad. It's like I want to play that. So,
one of Luke Geek Gaming, actually this is back from the Luke's APS days, but one of the videos that he made and then just deleted on a whim. Luke does this a lot, by the way.
He did.
Luke will just every once in a while get frustrated with like the camera that he had back for a certain video and just delete it from the internet. But one of the lost Geek Gaming videos is he took like lava stones from a gardening shop and just put them on stands and just painted them up a little bit, and they are amazing asteroids for X-Wing.
Yeah.
And so I
think I remember that video.
But there's so much cool stuff you could do with. Yeah, it's kind of unexplored territory for the most part of space debris terrain for miniatures gaming.
Right, like 3-dimensional.
There's a lot of creativity to unlock there. But.
Yeah, I mean, the 3-dimensional space is interesting, actually. I mean, they're not taking advantage of that. It's still all played 2-dimensionally, but there's something there. I don't know if there is any type of game that does that 3 dimensions. Maybe it's too many variables, but could be cool.
Put it in your candy game.
Of course, I can't remember what it's called right now. You know, I have a picture on my phone. I was at my hobby shop, right? And I found a naval skirmish game. Like it's just Navy boats. You build them, you play it on the water, and then you can like offload dudes onto land, and there's like pirates and stuff. Some weird, I forget what it's called. But I was supposed to send you the picture.
We've been getting a lot of suggestions for naval skirmish games, and I've been stockpiling them. And like I said, when the day comes, that day is gonna come, and we're gonna get into it hard. I'm gonna get into it hard.
Yeah. I think it's called Blood and Plunder.
That's the thing I've heard of before. Yeah.
Okay, there was this random shelf that was like on the floor, basically. Like it was one of those like half shelves, and it's just filled with all this stuff. And I'm like, there are a whole bunch of boats in here, like frigates and pirates that you can have, and they're like offloading onto land. And it was this whole thing. I don't know, just seemed like it would totally appeal to you. Like I don't know about the pirate thing, but the like boat thing seemed rad. They look cool.
Dude. On Twitter today, I saw from Mantic Games, apparently they just have an Armada game. And so
really?
I just saw some pictures of like elven trimarines today, or like, okay. Yeah, it's just like, or catamaran. That's the word I'm looking for. Elven catamarans. Yeah. And it's like, ooh.
That's so random.
That is tempting right there. But look, we gotta get off of this before I start,
I know.
buying things off of Mantic.com during this podcast.
I mean, they've got some sweet minis, dude. Like Mantic makes a lot of good stuff. Like they've been a proxy company for a lot of other games for a long time, just because they make good stuff. I don't know. All right. Well, since let's take a few steps back. We're talking about X-Wing. I also bought the dice for Gaslands because I don't have any dice for Gaslands, and they use special dice. So again, just adding to that kind of skirmish collection. So picked up some of that and some of the markers for that too, like some MDF markers that were well painted. So building out the collection. Like I said, I spent just a stupid amount of money this week. Like I bought so much dumb crap. Like like my foam for my Kill Team box came in because I've been foaming out all my big boxes. So it's got all the terrain, which I painted, by the way. Like the first day I got it, it's looking good, but it's all nice and like in its laser cut place right now, and everything in the box. Like, it's good, man. It's good to have the foam. I like it a lot. It's actually helping. I saw a game of Cursed City because like I've been thinking about my foam in that box and like really want to play Cursed City now. Like, it actually doesn't look too hard. I don't know, man. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, we just gotta you gotta focus down. By this time, 2 weeks from now, I want you to have played a game of X-Wing. First things first.
Okay.
Get yourself a game of X-Wing in there. We'll get to Kill Team and Cursed City later, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm gonna be playing a couple of games of Kill Team coming up here. I played one last week too. That was pretty good. So and I also got the compendium for Kill Team because I needed that, to build more Kill Team. Yeah. Gotta have that.
Well, okay. So you've been having some pretty good purchases. I'll say so far so good with the Pro Acryl paints.
Yeah.
I was going through them, and man, for the first couple of colors, I was like, wow, this is the best paint I've ever used. And then I did get to one that was like, okay, yeah, this isn't very good, but
it is pretty fine. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, the spell is broken. This is. Many of the paints in here are quite good, but it's not the be all end all. But I was like, ooh, this jade is really good. Ooh, this blue is really good. And then the mahogany, I didn't like that much. It was not behaving for me. But hey,
interesting.
Pretty good line of paint. I'm gonna keep using them. We'll report back later.
I essentially got the set specifically for that jade color.
It's good.
It looks awesome. Also, the last time I talked to Uncle Adam, he told me that the white, just pure white from Pro Acryl, is better than white ink. That's what he told me.
Give it a shot.
Don't know if it's true.
We will report back to you on a lot of different topics. But for now, we gotta move on. What are we talking about today, Casey? We got a topic of the day.
So the topic for today, because it's very timely, is technically Warhammer Plus, because that just came out, and we've both been, doing our research, doing our due diligence, going through
watched,
everything
both
on the
hours
platform.
Of content that it released with,
literally,
and we're ready to talk about it.
Yeah. All right.
So it's actually we should say we're recording this on the, I guess the third Wednesday that it's been out, or the.
Second.
It's had two kind of weekly releases. It's had its initial offering, and we've just had the second Wednesday worth of content releases for it. So now there's a total of 3.5 hours of content on the platform, something like that.
To put it, there are 3 episodes of everything.
Okay.
Or whatever they put up, of the shows that they started with. There are now 3. So, I wrote some stuff down for kind of each thing.
Sure.
Do you want to just run down each piece and talk about the platform, or do you want to start with the overall platform itself?
As far as we plan out these episodes of Paint Bravely, the podcast, I thought we should probably focus more on the masterclass series, and then we'll try to kind of breeze through the other shows maybe quicker first. But you want to jump in and talk about the animations quick there, Casey?
I guess maybe we can start with there and just be real quick about it. I got through most of the actual cartoon animated one, the first episode.
Hammer and Bolter.
I didn't actually finish that.
Okay.
I don't know. Like, it wasn't really grabbing me at all.
Mm-hmm.
I did watch all of the Blood Angels one.
Yep.
I thought there was some cool stuff in that.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know. Like, there's something about Space Marines in general. Like, the way that they communicate with each other, the lack of actual humanity and character in literally every character really makes it hard to care at all about what happens.
This This could be a very quick segment because I agree with everything you're saying here, Casey. Yeah. So
I mean, the one character I thought was the ship's captain.
yes,
In that, the chick.
right
Like
there
everybody
with you,
in that
Casey.
room, like, okay, that's all right. I like what's going on in this room. You know, on the bridge, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like every good Star Trek, right? I think the bridge is where it's at. And why are we looking at these guys over here? Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
They all hate each other anyways. Like the one dude didn't even want to talk to other people. What kind of character? Okay. Anyways.
I know. So just backing up here. So they've got 2 animated series out right now. As of this recording, they each have 3 episodes. So, and each episode is about 18 minutes long.
Yeah.
So
like 15 to 18 minutes.
There's Hammer and Bolter, which is an animated kind of anthology of short stories, essentially.
Okay,
So,
I wasn't sure if it was like anthology or not. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right word, but so far all of the 3 episodes appear to be unconnected, except for the fact that so far all 3 episodes have been in the 40K universe. I think they're eventually going to have stuff in like Age of Sigmar, but so far it's just been 40K for all of them.
I mean, Hammer and Bolter. Yeah, I could see that being both. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're short stories. They're animated. I don't know. I guess you can call it like 80s, 90s Saturday morning cartoon style. Like, a little bit of like He-Man or something like that.
Like,
in kind of,
but like not as good.
The mouth animations are pretty bad. Like when they're talking, if you're not going to sync up the audio with the moving mouth, don't zoom in on the moving mouth. Like that's
right. Like you're trying to be cinematic and you're trying to get that shot.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could totally see how in a still frame, this looks great. Like, but
I think it's okay though. Like it's
okay.
I'm not gonna I'm not gonna complain too much about it. Like they tried to do some fun stuff with the stories. They're okay. The nice thing about like the short story format is that you can have a lot of twists and turns in 18 minutes. You can have main characters die. You can have betrayals. You can have like, oh, this is what the story is about moments. And so it looks like they're using that aspect of the format of short stories, but they're okay. I mean, I didn't get too into any of them, but yeah, I watched them. They're all right. Yeah.
Like some of the animation style in the Blood Angels one, like it's interesting, like the aesthetic of it, like because they're kind of mixing 2D and 3D stuff, and they're really focusing on like more of almost like graphic novel aesthetics, where it's like if you took a still frame of this, it looks cool. You put everything together and some of it kind of falls apart a little bit. Honestly, the only actual complaint that I have, is that the sound design is pretty bad.
Like the sound of the bolters?
The sound of the bolters, the sound of almost everything. There's a lot of generic stuff, or there's just not enough. It's like someone gets shot, so you put in bullet sound, and that's like it. It's like, well, there's no thud, there's no wind, there's no oomph, there's no, you know what I mean? Like when you're watching a good animated film or like just any kind of cartoon, like they have to fill all that stuff in, right? Yeah. It seems like a lot of that stuff is just missing. Like they just didn't add all of the sound effects in.
Yeah, I got some of that. So yeah, this is the Angels of Death show, I think. Yeah. And it is it's the Blood Angel one, but the animation is much more like a nice trailer for a video game sort of animation. Like it's like high quality renders. The lighting effects are pretty good. And yeah, they're doing the stylized sort of Sin City look where it's black and white, and
with
red.
Like red,
and okay, Yeah, I don't know if I would have chosen that style, but I think for some of the shots, it looks pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah. And I gotta say, I think it all looks very good. Like, I think the
Yeah.
animation on that is really good. The like I said, the lighting effects playing off of like these high resolution shapes all looks pretty sweet. And the general story is that there's a sword of Bale, space marine battle barge in space above a planet, and down on the planet there's some space marines fighting some gene stealer cult.
Essentially, yeah. In a nutshell.
Is basically the story. And the man, I'm right there with you. Like, there's scenes on the bridge of the space marine battle barge, and it's a pretty sweet lady captain, and she's got her team of just not mutants, but
they're all like machined
humans.
up. Yeah, they all have like something about them too that I like, right? Like, I don't know, they all feel more human than like than the actual like people in the show. It's so weird, man.
Yeah. So the bridge team is just humans with like weird implants, and the
like everybody's kind of messed
gothic
up eye or
feel
something.
of the space marine, or not space marine, the spaceship design. Like, it's the first time I've really seen it and understood what they're going for, and it seemed cool.
Right.
Like, it seems like a gothic 1800s building in space.
A cathedral floating in space.
A cathedral in space with weird technology everywhere and floating servo skulls. And for the first time, seriously, the very first time, I've been like, okay, I guess I could see how this is cool. Like, it is, it has made this stupid idea seem cool for the first time ever in my history of being aware of Battlefleet Gothic. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I have somebody sent me a bunch of Blood Angel stuff, and I've been kind of thinking about, well, you know, I got like a bunch of Blood Angels stuff I could put together. I painted Mephiston, you know, I got all this cool stuff. And one of the things was a very well done drop pod. You know, now I'm kind of like, okay, like I could see how I could take some, you know, from this animation. Like, even if I'm not way into it, it's like there's some stuff in here. Like, I didn't realize that any other faction besides the Sisters of Battle used like the little cherub servitors. Like, I didn't know that.
Sure.
But like before they were going down, these little cherubs are like buffing out their armor and just going, yes, go down, defeat the enemy, and all this like cool. It's funny. Like, it was funny. So I don't know, like some stuff like that I could play into that, you know?
Yeah, like the really weird stuff that I gotta say I didn't understand how it fit in or understand like it just wasn't fitting into my head into like a cohesive picture for the past 20 years. But yeah, watching this couple episodes of an 18-minute animated show, I was like, okay, the gothic buildings in space, I get it. It's still weird, but the weirdness is cool in this context. I've watched all 3 episodes. I have no idea what the plot is in space with like what the spaceships are doing. We don't need to get into spoilers. Like, I understand that there's like borders on the ship, but like why some ships are shooting at other ships right now, no idea. We'll talk about it later.
I mean, I think I'm on board with what's going on right now.
Somebody's betraying somebody, but whoever, like, nobody, whatever.
Yeah.
Some gothic ships are shooting at other gothic ships right now, and the plot points are not.
And one of the Blood Angels on the actual planet was like, that's spaceship fire coming from space. They're having a battle. Like, legitimately, it's like, I hear this with my elven ears. Like, no joke. Stops in the middle of them, like, killing stuff. And then goes, I know there's a space battle happening now.
So, I mean, this is a problem that I do not think can ever be solved. Space Marines are terrible characters. Like, the animations of them fighting is like, okay, that's kind of cool. Like, oh, yeah, it was brutal. Like, he totally chopped that guy's head off. But
The chainsword sound
as
effects
characters,
are the worst.
Wow, they're unsalvageable. Like the very first scene in that show is chief librarian, and they're like, I am brother before any other rank, and then they just start calling each other brother. We go into combat, brother. For honor,
it's
brother.
like,
Purge the heretic,
on one hand,
brother. Like,
I get how
terrible.
somebody could.
You know what I'm gonna say? It's shit. I don't think I've said this podcast before. Episode 40. Space Marines as characters are shit. Their dialogue is shit. They are unsalvageable. They are just a shit concept for an entire class of characters. You cannot do anything.
Earning that explicit warning in this one, yeah.
Sorry, I gotta calm down. You gotta calm down.
It's okay. You having to calm me down? I gotta calm you down.
Talk about the battle report show for a little while, Casey. You talk about the battle report.
So I'm usually okay. We're just moving on. I'm usually pretty into battle reports. I like to watch like Guerrilla miniature games, that kind of thing. Like he does good stuff. Rerolling ones, they've got some cool stuff. Like, you know, there's always like a playful banter between characters in a show. You know, and obviously on YouTube, it's like, okay, people that you just know, right? And they're just friends with each other and they're having a good time playing a game. But, you know, you grow accustomed to kind of seeing that and going, oh, they're playing so-and-so today. This is going to be funny, whatever. You know, they're playing this army and it gives you a sense of like you're in the room with old friends and you're playing a game together. Like battle reports can be really fun. That being said, the battle reports on Warhammer Plus are stale. Like real bad. They're short. They're like half an hour, which is good. It's a good actual like time limit to do a battle report, but I don't think you're really getting much from it. And I'm like, I wrote this down earlier. I was kind of like, you know, battle reports are not good right now, but I think that's because these people don't know each other yet. I don't think they're comfortable being in front of a camera yet. In fact, I'd say that's a majority of the problem with any of the live stuff on the platform right now, is that this is so new to everyone that they're just really trying to get used to it.
Yeah.
Like they don't know what they're doing. So trying to be perfect with the rules, trying to make sure that everything is done a specific way to be filmed, you know, in a studio, and then trying to have some kind of banter back and forth. It's like, that is the awkward part that it wasn't really doing it for me. Where, yeah, I could watch a battle report online on YouTube and be like, yeah, okay, I'm in, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But you don't like battle reports at all, do you?
Yeah, I don't. Man, I would like to get into them someday. Rerolling ones, I watch like their intro skits. I really like those. And then like,
you're like, and they start rolling dice.
Yeah, battle report. Yeah. and I do watch. You know, I'll turn on the first few minutes of Guerrilla Miniature Games just to see how Ash has like painted another like 2 squads of whatever
in like, 5
an
minutes.
Evening.
Oh, just he painted the entire Kill Team box like the day it came out.
Yeah, I tune into Guerrilla Miniature Games just to be like, yeah, this is a son of a gun. Ash did it again. He painted another,
Dude, that he's probably the hardest working painter on YouTube.
Like,
yeah.
So
like, I cannot
I'll
believe
tune in
that.
for the visual spectacle sometimes, but I tried to watch the Warhammer Plus battle reports, and I tuned into one that was an hour long, and I got about 8 minutes in, and they're still just talking about the armies they took to the table, and it's slick with the editing and the graphics, because they'll show the board and they'll have their smoke effects flying through. And then they'll, target in on one unit and be like, this unit of Necrons has reroll ones. This unit of Necrons rerolls this. And it was like 8 minutes of this unit rerolls this, and it rerolls this, and it rerolls this. And if it's just 8 minutes of this is going to reroll this and reroll this, reroll this, I mean, I think that's like why I don't like reading rule books, honestly. But
yes. Well, I mean, because the whole thing with that is like, oh, I have to take this in order to get that, and then this guy buffs this guy over here, and it's like, unless you're gonna be explaining that kind of in the context of like teaching, while you're actually playing the game, I don't find that to be too entertaining. Like, I think that's where like Ash specifically does a good job, because he runs through that stuff so fast. And he's like, and they got this, and this. Okay, let's play the game. And then they start going, and then, you know, he'll remind you, oh, well, I'm going to do this now because. So it's like, oh, well, if I'm playing this army, it's like, I can do that. That's cool. But it's not intrusive, where that, like what you're talking about, it's like a 10-minute intro, only just spouting numbers.
I don't know how
and you're
long
like,
the
I have
intro
no
was,
context for this
after
at all.
8 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I got through that stuff. I made it through a couple of battle reports.
Okay.
Like, they get better as they go. Once you get past that, they start playing. And then they get past some of their kind of awkward phase of like not really knowing how to talk to each other. Okay. Or where to stand or what to do with themselves.
I mean, that's normal though. Like, if you go back and listen to episode 1 of this podcast, like that,
it's terrible.
This stuff just takes time. It develops over time.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And
I'm not holding it against
there
them
yet either, but we'll get there.
No, this is a terrible podcast. Yeah. We're so bad at this.
So for, but yeah, on the one thing I did notice about the battle reports is that so far they've released 2 for 40K, Space Marines versus Necrons, Space Marines versus Orcs, and then they have 1 for Age of Sigmar, which is Sigmarines versus
Marines.
Something. I don't know. So, I mean, yeah, they're doing the same thing that they do with the rest of the game. It's just all Space Marines and all Sigmarines all the time.
So, like,
hopefully they branch out. I don't know.
I mean, I'd like to think so at some point. I don't remember. Did the Space Marines win every game?
I didn't watch them.
Oh, right. You didn't watch. You have to go back and keep track of that. It's like every single battle report they put out, like, Space Marines win again. Like, this seems a little strange. Like, yeah.
That would be pretty funny, though. Yeah, that would be pretty funny.
Like, every time. They're just, I mean, I assume because, you know, they're a company, they built this platform for a reason other than to provide us with, you know, content that they don't actually care about. It's to sell models, right? So, like, you know, the Sigmar game was the box set. It was the Dominion box set. They played against each other. And I'm pretty sure that it's super unbalanced. Like, the Sigmarines just destroyed the Orcs in that game. Like, he knocked out, like, like one troop of 3 guys, and that was it. And then just got, like, tabled. So it was like no contest, you know? Yeah. But that Age of Sigmar game was a little bit better because Nick was playing on it. Nick, that is from Warhammer TV, that paints. Mm-hmm. And he's been on camera a lot more. And I think he was way more natural in that role, kind of carrying it. So it felt good. I think that eventually they'll get there. I just hope that the focus becomes more about them having fun as like a group of people that work together rather than trying to show off like, well, this is what this does because we want to sell a box or, you know, if it ever becomes obvious, right? That would be bad. So I think it has potential. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what else we'll get to the masterclass, since this is nominally a painting podcast and we're about 1 hour in. We're gonna get to talking about the masterclass. But what else is on Warhammer Plus? You've been checking out some old
so I watched
dwarfs or anything?
Actually haven't yet. I haven't done that yet. I mean, I think that's a sweet bonus. Like, to be able to go and read the old White Dwarfs. I think that's awesome because, you know, like, I'm not subscribed. I've only ever weirdly been subscribed once, and it was through like a workplace that I had them subscribe for me, so I could read them. But that's a story for another time. All right, yeah. I used to be a librarian, Brent, and I made the great state of Nevada pay for a White Dwarf subscription so that awesome. It could circulate.
Yeah, no, I know. You know, a lot of libraries will have their monthly subscriptions, but you were did like each of the librarians get to vote on or like pick a couple of publications to be subscribed to, or did you just like pull the list one night, you know, after work and kind of make a few changes?
So as a librarian, like obviously I didn't go to college to be a librarian, so I wasn't like, some higher end librarian, because you actually have to have like a master's degree
Sure.
to be it's insane. But there's like specialties in it. It's a weird, super weird job. Like probably one of the
There
weirdest
is so
jobs I
much
ever
human
had.
knowledge out there that like organizing it, cataloging it, making it available to the people who need it. Like, that is a serious skill. And yeah.
The Dewey Decimal System is a thing.
That alone,
right.
requires
so
a master's degree. Yeah.
Absolutely. Holy crap. Like, yeah, I've put back a lot of books, So no, my main thing was repairing like videotapes, VHS tapes and cassette tapes, refurbishing any CDs, DVDs, redoing packaging. I also fixed books. So I'd mend broken books, and I like had to take a bunch of classes for that. It's this whole thing. But every so often we'd go, oh, are there any books that you've heard about that you would like to add to our system? And magazines are part of the system, and I'm like, oh, we got to get White Dwarf, like we have to. And I mean, that was like 2001, 2000-ish. Like White Dwarf was like $15 an issue back then, and I think it was monthly. Like it's like $9 now, so it went down. But yeah, like that was like their most expensive magazine. But they got it. Nice. And I also made them get like it was one of like the gaming magazines where it came with a demo disc every quarter, so that I could get the demo disc. Yeah, for like my PS1 or something.
Every job has its perks. Every job has its perks. Yeah.
It was an awesome job. Like, I'm kind of sad that I ended up leaving, because I was like, I started when I was in 7th grade doing like just putting books back. It was like a part-time job. And then I eventually came on as like a librarian assistant, and then librarian 1 or whatever they called it. Like I had a pension and everything. Like, it was a whole thing. And it's like, and then I was just like, oh, I'm a senior in high school. I'd like to not do this right now. So I stopped working for the system for a year, and then like, yeah. Anyways, so that's how I
hired somebody who wasn't skimming off the top, and now here we are
skimming White Dwarfs. Yeah. I forget what we were talking about before that. I didn't necessarily want to go into that, but that was good.
White Dwarfs. Old issues of White Dwarf is how we got here.
Great bonus, because those magazines were expensive. So if you can pick them up and read them, there's some cool stuff in those. And there's a lot of old White Dwarfs that have like kind of last chance things in them, or I guess your only opportunities to get kind of things. Like the original AOS Skirmish game that was just called Skirmish. It was a $10 book that you could buy, which was amazing. Which was kind of one of the like the shining rays of hope for GW even 3 or 4 years ago. Was like, oh, we're gonna put out the Skirmish game. You can use all of your AOS models. It has points. You can do this thing. Here are all the campaigns. Book's $10. $10. Okay. They put out the Skirmish 2.0 before they basically killed the game and said, we're not making any more of this, because they moved on to Warcry. But Skirmish 2.0, all of the rules for that and extra campaigns and point updates are in a White Dwarf. That's the only place you can get it. And I have the issue somewhere in my closet, but like I bought that specific White Dwarf because I'm like, okay, I finished my Skirmish. Like I played Skirmish.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So yeah, Warhammer Plus has like 20 old White Dwarfs on it, something like that. I mean, it has a sampling of, I think, fairly recent past issues of White Dwarf uploaded as essentially a PDF that you can scroll through on Warhammer Plus. And okay, so this is sort of minor, but the Warhammer Plus is clunky as hell. Like,
that's true.
Yeah, like if I subscribed to Warhammer Plus, and if I want to go and watch some videos and I go to warhammerplus.com, warhammerplus.com is a giant advertisement to subscribe to Warhammer Plus.
Correct.
Like there is no login button on warhammerplus.com. You have to scroll all the way down past multiple advertisements for warhammerplus.com, past multiple places that say subscribe here, and like at the bottom of the page it tells you like you actually want to go to warhammertv.com. You're trying to go to warhammertv.com. Right. And warhammertv.com is where you can go to watch the episodes, but if you want to go look at old White Dwarf, that is part of the vault, and so that's not warhammerplus.com. That is like warhammervault.com or something like that. So
I didn't even
know very
that.
Clunky.
That's insane.
And if you are, on Warhammer Plus, warhammertv.com, and you want to go watch a video, like the actual video player is not good.
Right.
So if you click on the thumbnail for the video you want to watch, it does not play that video. It's like you have to click on that thumbnail and then search around the page. There's a very small play button like on the other side of the page that you have to click. And then once you actually get into the player, there's play and there's pause. There's no button for like full screen. So if anyone does subscribe, you have to press F11 for full screen. Like you have to manually use the browser, Windows tool to do full screen.
If you're,
I think there's a volume adjustment, but there's no little gear to see like what resolution you're streaming in.
Yeah.
There's certainly no like subtitle controls or anything.
They're like you get what you get.
Right. Like it is janky. It is not fully developed.
Interesting.
I'll say.
I've been watching on my TV. I have a Roku TV.
Okay.
The app was available day one, and it works just like Netflix or anything. Actually, logging in wasn't too bad from my phone to the TV, and it saved my information. And it's a little clunky, but I haven't had any issues like navigating or accidentally playing the wrong episode of something or whatever. So far, it's been okay. Like it's a little ugly.
Okay.
But it seems like they put at least an amount of effort into that app to make sure it functions.
Hey, that's good news. Yeah, I had some problems on day one. Like I tried to watch, I don't know, 5 hours after the service launched or something.
Sure.
And so I was having, it just kept logging me out. Like, play Angels of Death, log in. Play Angels of Death, please log in. Like it was,
that sucks.
Yeah, I'll let that slide. Like that was
day one is always a
streaming
problem,
service,
right?
every game has problems day one because a lot of people are checking it out.
Yeah.
But since
even
then,
Disney,
it works as well as it was sloppily designed to work on PC. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, it's all right. So, do you want to talk about the masterclass then? The actual painting
Oh
show?
yeah, I guess so. I was going to say something else, but you know what?
First?
This feeds into it perfectly fine. I wanted to talk about the music, but the music in the masterclass is part of the problem. So how do we go into that?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So
holy crap.
So let's put it this way. So Casey and I make YouTube videos about painting minis. We are equipped and prepared to be the worst critics of any mini painting channel or whatever. Like when we watch YouTube videos, we think about it in a different way than a lot of people. We are looking like, okay, what are they doing here? Why does it look the way it does? What are they doing better than me? What are they doing differently than the way I do things? Is this the way Miniac does it? Like we look at the shots and what's going on in a different way than a lot of other people. And so I don't know, what's the saying? Like teachers are the worst students or like so and so's are the worst critics. Like
Well, okay, essentially we're not coming at this in any kind of judgmental way. It's more about like what can we gain from watching this, or how, I don't know. I know what you're talking about, but
Well, no, I'm just because when we were watching it, we're like, okay, this is good, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, like,
right.
and just to be very clear, so I'll say this right off. There are 3 episodes of Warhammer Masterclass out there right now. All 3 of them are well-designed lessons. I learned something from each of them. I am glad it exists.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think it has a lot of potential. Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
That being said, and you probably share a similar sentiment, there are things lacking.
Sure.
Like things that bug the shit out of me.
And to keep going here, just so we're real clear, Louise is doing a great job. She is a fantastic painter. She is charismatic, and I think she does a good job with the presentations. Just to get that out of the way here, she is not the problem.
No, in fact, I would suggest that she's probably the best thing about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The set design is pretty good. The set design.
I mean, okay. Too. The set design for all of their live things is impeccable. Like, it is straight up like Disneyland levels of like you walking through a scene, right? Like, that is very well done, and something that I want to replicate in some way, right? I want to have a space that is like, oh yeah, no, every square inch is like purposely painted or done up, or there's a prop, or there's a thing. Yeah, like, because that adds so much to your entire studio. Yeah. So definitely that. Let's get to the dumb stuff though.
Okay, go for it.
All right. Well, just because we kind of alluded to it a little bit ago, the music is like, it starts off pretty cool. I'm thinking, okay, maybe they watched my channel. I got cool music like this on my channel. And then it's like, maybe they really didn't watch my channel, because like I kept the same couple songs for like the first 20 videos I put out, and it is like a stain on my YouTube channel's like career. It's bad to replay the same song over and over and over. It's like every time something happens, it's like they just start the song over and they turn it up. They're like, check it out, something's happening. And not only does it carry through each episode of Masterclass, but it carries through all of the other shows they have. It's the same stuff.
Yeah. So I was trying to figure out, I think they have 2 tracks of music?
2, maybe like some stingers, like some quick, like something or others. But yeah, basically 2 actual, like maybe 2-minute long tracks.
Yeah. So it's the, typical setup of, okay, next I went through and edge highlighted in blue. And then the music cranks up a little bit, and and then I went through and edge highlighted with a mix of blue and white or whatever.
Yeah.
And like the music they switch to kind of in each of those, I don't know, I should know editing terms, but in each of those little like filler B-roll kind of moments where they're just showing the painting.
Yeah, when they actually show the painting. Yeah.
It is the same clip starting at the same point in that clip every time.
They just line up to play ahead. They say, okay, this is where it goes. This is where the music kicks in.
Yep.
Hit play.
Louise stop talking, and we need to show, another 10 seconds of Louise painting before Louise talks again. Hey, drop in the clip. You know what clip to use. Yeah.
Now, it's funny because I'm pretty sure this is actually a direct reaction to what most people had a problem with back when even Duncan started, which was, this is what you do, this is the next step. And while he's talking, he's putting down some paint, maybe. And then they switch to camera up close, 1 stroke, next thing. He starts talking again. They literally just cut to the next thing.
Sure.
So that I can see them going, okay, no. People don't want that. They want to see the paint go on. They want to see the technique and how it plays out. They want to, get in there. So like, we got to have music over that and whatever. And they made that decision. not really understanding that like that gets old real fast. And that's fine. Like, again, I think they can move past that, but holy crap, is it so bad. It is so noticeable and bad that it's like almost not.
It's noticeable for us because we're thinking like, yeah, maybe it's because we're a little bit more attuned.
Maybe.
And we may have just ruined it for you. Like now if you go and watch these episodes, you'll be like, oh, that song was cool the first time. Like,
yeah, just kill me every time.
But yeah, once you get tuned into it, you're like, and
okay.
I mean, I'll say like on my channel, yeah, I have like 20 songs that I rotate through. And
sure.
After about 6 months, I am so tired of those 20 songs that I go and find 20 new songs. Yeah. And so at least I have 40 songs to rotate through, you know.
Right.
And hopefully they will continue to contract out some composer or something. Like, my guess is that they commissioned a couple of tracks to get made for Warhammer Plus.
I'm pretty sure they did, yes.
Yeah.
Which is not good. It's a huge waste of money.
They just need to keep that person on permanent payroll so that they can keep cranking out some tracks because, yeah.
I mean, I guess. Like, that's... Because, I mean, I've thought about this, right? Like, I'm in a band, and I could legitimately write music for the channel, right? And we've talked about it before, and it's still like that is an undertaking. Like, even if you are doing it full time, that is an undertaking. So like, it is just so much easier to get licensed music. And I think they're probably like, well, we can't have anything non-original. And what that's going to do is just shoot themselves in the foot. And that sucks.
Yeah,
that
or
sucks
they just
for
need to
that
find they need to have someone trolling Fiverr and buying cheap music and
exactly. Yeah, just giving them the samples of what they have, and they'll get something at least slightly different than what they already have back, and that should be fine.
Right.
But this does play into kind of how I was saying, it almost fixes a problem where, oh, we need to show more painting.
Yeah.
But also, there is still a separation between the painting skill level of you know, she's trying to, it's a master class, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're supposed to learn every single step. Why does this look good? Why doesn't this look good? Or what should you do? What shouldn't you do? Which I think that it is mostly being done. But the fact is that at the end of each one, she finished the piece and then goes, after I did some more work, this is what it looks like. Isn't it awesome? And you're like, well, what was the point? For me to get halfway and for you to just be like, I'm just a better painter than you. And it's like, there's a massive gap separation in like learning. And now you're not good enough.
I thought it was pretty good. There was, on the, like in general, I thought the lesson design was pretty good. So like on the black armor one, on the actual video, she paints the right leg of the Space Marine.
Yeah.
And then the, finish the owl moment is like, I painted all the other legs and arms and chest.
That's true. I did not have a problem with that one.
Yeah.
Actually, but no, it was the other one.
It was the head
shield,
where it was the head where
the head.
I drew a Aquila tattoo on his head, and that finished it off nicely.
I swear she said I added a few more colors and depth and detail, did a few more highlights, and then I did a freehand Aquila on the side of his head. And it's like, so you did like way more in this masterclass, and you're just not going to show me. Like, I get the Aquila thing. You don't have to say that because maybe you're holding that for another lesson. But the fact of the matter is, you said, I'm going to paint this head to the best of my ability and show you how to do that. And only did halfway or 3/4.
Okay.
I just don't appreciate that, like withholding of information when it's not supposed to be that. It's like,
fair enough. I didn't have that complaint. I thought it was okay, but I see where you're coming from there. I see where you're coming from.
The black armor didn't bother me at all because you're right. She just painted the rest of the armor. It's like, okay, cool. You just took the technique and you went further.
Yeah.
In the third episode, it was wet blending a shield. And the end result for that was cool. The wet blend looks really good. But look what it looks like when I paint non-metallic metal around everything and do some other cool things that I'm not going to tell you about. And again, maybe it's for a different class. But it's still like, okay, what?
Yeah.
Like, come on.
So we'll put a little bit of good in this sandwich because I think on the whole, I think it's a good show. But it is nice to see an official Games Workshop presenter showing new techniques that they haven't shown before.
Straight up, they're using a wet palette.
Yeah, they are using a wet palette. She hasn't really addressed it yet, but like, yes, she's using a wet palette.
Right.
She's
like
doing glazes.
Right?
Like the on that black armor one, she was doing edge highlighting, but in addition to that, she straight up put like a glint down the middle of an armor plate.
Yeah.
Like straight up, she said, in addition to the edges, just right here down the middle of this shin guard, we're going to put a line of brighter color straight down, the cylinder of this shin guard. And so, I mean, essentially, a little bit of kind of non-metallic metal sort of there.
Oh, yeah. That whole thing was essentially, it's like, here we're going to paint some black armor with highlights to make it look shiny, right? To make it look like metallic armor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I think that's great. And I think that everything that is being presented up until the actual reveal is great.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, it's pushing what Warhammer TV has always done. It's going beyond the just straight up, like, we're going to put this on, we're going to put a wash on, we're going to highlight, that's it. Cool.
Yep.
Like, that's what we got.
And so, it still fits entirely, like, they are always going to be using Games Workshop products. I think the wet palette is the biggest surprise we're ever going to see on there. Everything else is always going to be Games Workshop paints. Like, prediction here, we're never going to see enamel paints on that show until Games Workshop releases enamel washes.
I mean, yeah, likely.
Yeah. Like,
very, very likely.
Everything is going to start with a base coat of Averland Sunset. Everything is going to start with Mephiston Red.
Right. A spray of Wraithbone, and there's your prime.
You're always going to be thinning your contrast paints down with 80% contrast medium. Like right. It's the game. I mean, it makes sense. It's the Games Workshop kind of ecosystem there. So all of the materials are always going to be
sell these products, right?
Yeah, the best Citadel equivalent that there is. And the Citadel line is large enough that it's not too limiting. With
no, I mean, they make good paints, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Never any complaints about.
And of course, there were a couple of moments where, Louise is using her brush to ladle on some paint from a stupid pot onto the wet palette, and then has to clean her brush off. That would be better with a dropper bottle. But hey, it is what it is. It's the Citadel system. Yeah.
They're definitely never getting away from that. But I mean, the fact is they put airbrush paints in those pots. Okay, they're never changing. Okay,
sure.
Never.
Yeah.
The wet palette thing was, I definitely think, like you said, the most interesting thing on there, and it's because it looked super janky too. Like, I don't know what they made that out of. It wasn't a real one.
It looks like a piece of paper towel and a piece of parchment paper just stuck on the table. Like, they just put a wet paper towel on the table. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what it looked like. And
it makes sense that they're not going to have, a Masterson palette in frame, or a Redgrass or an Army Painter palette in frame. That makes sense.
It was like Tupperware though, but then it looked janky again. It did not fit with the style. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like there are other things. Like, come on. Yeah, like I don't know.
For a kebab and a curry and get your packaging and use it on the masterclass. Yeah.
That'd be amazing. I don't know. I guess the any of the issues that I'm having with it anyways is because I'm comparing it more directly to Darren Latham, who did actual masterclass videos on YouTube before Games Workshop told him to stop, which was fine. That made sense.
So I noticed this in a comment that Travarian left on some video or another. But so for about a year, Darren's YouTube channel has been a zombie. Like, he hasn't been uploading anything, but the channel has still been there and the videos have still been up. I
assumed because COVID hit that they're just like, they forgot. And he just didn't bring it up.
But like, it went away on the launch of Warhammer Plus. Like, those videos are not up anymore. Yeah.
Really? I've been wondering when we're going to go down, but I didn't realize. Oh, you know what? That's funny because I just saw on Instagram, he posted a thing like, thank you for everybody who participated in, the masterclass stuff that he did. I didn't realize it was because the videos were gone. That's interesting. But
yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm comparing it to.
It would have taken me another 6 months to go back and check up on that channel, but I think Travarian noticed it. Is that like, yeah,
sure,
they went down on a very specific date. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. Oh, okay.
So
that's a bummer because that would be the actual comparison for people to be like, well, hang on, like, how come he's showing everything and she's not? Like, he's using Winsor Newton and a wet palette. Like, what's up? Yeah. It's funny. I wonder if he had used Citadel brushes and a regular palette, if they would have cared. Or if it's the fact that he was like, oh yeah, I only own a Winsor Newton size 1 and 2, and that's it. Like, very specifically.
Yeah, I wonder what the red line was. Maybe just having a YouTube channel at all. Maybe it was using something that wasn't from either the grocery store or your local Games Workshop.
Right.
Maybe they just really liked the word masterclass and they couldn't have that anywhere else up on the internet. Yeah.
No, I mean, I've seen that, obviously.
I mean, it's all over the place.
It's the whole thing.
Yeah.
GW can't take that away from us.
Okay.
If anything, I wouldn't call it masterclass anyway. It's like my version of that would be called eBay Pro Painted. Like, because that's how eBay rolls.
Yeah. So, okay. So I'm gonna talk about a minor thing, and then and then we'll talk about I had one major criticism of the masterclass. I want to talk about one minor thing first.
Minor thing first.
So, Louise has a lot of charisma. She seems like a cool lady. And it seems like she is reading off a teleprompter written by somebody else. And I think I have the feeling, or there is, it seems like all of the presenters for Warhammer TV are reading off a script written by one person. Like, they all have a very similar feel to it. So I went through and just watched a couple of videos and just wrote down the intro script real quick. So I'm going to read them and see if you can tell them apart. This actually should be pretty easy based on what we've been talking about, but Orok brutes, Morgrox crushers stomp their way into Beastgrave, smashing their enemies and racking up the glory points and Wa counters with ease. In this video, we're going to show you exactly how to paint Morgrox crushers using tips and techniques to get them on the table in no time at all and looking great. So grab your paints and brushes and let's get started. All right, that's That's sample 1.
A lot of plugging of the specifics. The keywords, as it were. Keywords. Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Okay.
a lot of keywords in there. Okay. Ready for this next one?
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm ready.
I gotta get ready. Hold on. I gotta get prepared. I gotta get my Warhammer TV.
You get a little Britishy. You gotta get that deeper, just a little bit, kind of like I don't know how you
I gotta catch my breath. That last one took it out of me.
Have you ever looked at the mysterious? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's that. Is that? Okay.
You got to get in there.
Have you ever looked at the mysterious?
No. Come on.
Have you ever looked at the mysterious? Have you ever looked at the mysterious Raven Guard or the remorseless Black Templars and wanted to recreate the dark black power armor of their ranks? Do you want to take your chaplains or your Primaris Justiciars to the next level with armor that will stand out both on the battlefield and in your display cabinet? Today, we're going to be doing just that and taking an in-depth look at how to paint black power armor, the iconic staple of some of the most feared Space Marine chapters in the whole galaxy. So grab your brushes and let's get cracking. Okay, so like we were just talking about black power, one of those was Nick and one of those was Luis, but they were written by the same person. Like,
it definitely feels. I mean, they probably have. I think that my assumption would be that the Warhammer Plus team has probably designers, like some people like writers. You've got your camera people, your production, and your like on screen people, your presenters. And I bet you that's what it is. It's like, okay, how many shows do we have? What do we have to do? We have to write each thing. It's just like how we would sit down, write a script. It's like, okay, here's a script for your video. Now just go bust out each of these things. Like, you want to paint a face? Well, here, you need to fill in these blanks with your words. But everything else is, we're going to paint a face. Let's get cracking. You know? Yeah. Like, it's kind of generic. So that makes sense to have a writer come in and fill in those blanks so you don't have to think about it.
Sure.
You know,
sure.
Sit down with a teleprompter.
I said, it's minor, but we're so this whole critique is in the frame of how does this compare to a YouTube channel? You know, how does this compare to Scott Walter or Darren Latham or Casey Alden or anything else? You know, like how does this stack up? And what similarities, differences. And I think one of the weak points is that Luis, like, her personality is somewhat covered up by the corporate writing. Like, she, you know,
that's a good way to put it.
If she sounds, she sounds like Peachy, sounds like Nick, sounds like the rest of them. I could have gone back and like taken some of Duncan's old stuff, and I bet it would sound pretty similar. Yeah. And that's just a shame. Like, a little bit, yeah. Like, I know that Games Workshop wants to minimize the importance of the individual presenters so that they can be replaced on a whim and cheaply. But it's sad that we are losing their personalities.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it must be an interesting. I don't know. The fact is that Duncan left for a reason, you know, and is now presumably making. Okay, let me put it to you this way. Duncan's Kickstarter, as of right now, as I am talking, is over $600,000 for his paint line.
Good job. It is. So this is like what, day 2 of the Duncan's paint Kickstarter?
This is day 2. Funded in 15
Which there's still
minutes.
Plenty of time to go check out. I haven't tried the paint yet, but hey,
haven't tried it yet, but I'm looking forward to getting some in the mail.
Yeah.
I'm getting some in the mail. I'm going to be using it because, yes, of course I am. Like nice. Before I even thought about YouTube as a thing, before I even gave it a shot, I was watching Duncan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, that's definitely a thing. Like most people, it got me back in like a lot to like painting and learning things and knowing what to do, you know? The fact is though, that there is a leash on every single person that works at Warhammer TV because they don't want a repeat of that situation. That if these people become popular enough, which I would even say that they probably already are. How many Instagram followers does she have?
And
30,000.
And that she got those entirely on her own, not
On
because
her
of any
own,
affiliation
absolutely.
with Games Workshop. Yeah, Louise.
Because she's a great
I've been
painter.
following Louise on Instagram for a couple of years now. Her
Same here,
stuff
yeah.
is incredible.
Yes.
And yeah, I was following her long before I realized that she worked for
I
Forge
didn't
World
even
or
know.
whatever.
I literally didn't even know. I was like, whoa, Games Workshop hired an Instagram painter to. I literally thought that.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. Like, I was like, that's insane. Good for them. Oh, wait.
Right.
Yeah, and then I'm like scrolling through her stuff and I'm like, oh, like she's hanging out with all these people. Like she works there. Oh, she's worked there for like 7 years. Okay, never mind. Like she's obviously like worked her way through it and like earned this job, right? This is great. But yeah, like the actual followers on Instagram, like her painting credentials, like she earned all on her own. So it's one of those things where it's like, okay, if she had just pulled a Duncan or a Darren Latham and started her own thing, it's like, well, what potential does she actually have above Warhammer Plus? You know?
I bet she has a non-compete agreement.
Oh, I'm sure she does.
I bet they figured that one out. Yeah.
I guarantee that. But how long does that extend after the fact, too? Because, I mean, it's more of a, and I think I actually brought this up, is like if you're a band and you're going to get signed, there's usually something like that where, oh, well, we own your stuff for X amount of years. We can make so much money on it. You make this much money and blah, blah, blah. So that you can't just skip out to another label for an extra couple of % or something, whatever the case is. Like there are a lot of indie labels that do that take a band and bring them up, tour, blah, 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 get them all the stuff. And then they own their stuff with some other label for X amount of years. But like, that seems kind of out there for painters. Like, oh, you worked for Games Workshop. You can't make money off of Games Workshop for X amount of years after, even if you're not working for us anymore. Like, that's some shady business. You know? I mean, I get they don't want people to quit on them.
Yeah.
But I mean, a non-compete
makes
after the
sense
fact.
in some industries. Like back when I was, a scientist and my job was to develop proprietary technologies, like it makes sense that I'm not allowed to go work for a competitor. And I think at that time I had, it was like 1 year I wasn't allowed to go work for a competitor.
Okay.
Which
I could kind of see that.
Fair enough. Or if you're, writing AI at Google, no, you can't go to Facebook for a couple of years, whatever.
Sure.
Like, okay. But yeah, I don't think she's taking any proprietary Citadel masterclass next level system with her. It's just wanting to
her own knowledge of learning all of that stuff.
It's just trying to retain talent. It is.
I would suggest that her painting style is fairly unique on its own.
Oh yeah,
the way that she personally paints is not how most people paint.
That's a very good point. Like based on her Instagram account, no, she definitely has a unique style that I do not see other people replicating. Like
right.
Yeah. And she certainly did not learn that because she worked at Forge World. Like Forge World did not teach her how to be an amazing, unique artist. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So,
and yet she probably has an ironclad non-compete agreement for multiple years. But
I mean, yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, I'm sure they don't want a repeat of the Duncan situation, which makes sense. But then to also shoot them in the foot by not allowing them to have necessarily a personality. Like, I don't know if I suppose we're just kind of speculating anyways, because it is so new. We don't know what this is going to look like in 6 months. Like, how much more comfortable are they going to be with their processes as like a company? Because, essentially they are separate from Games Workshop as much as they are Games Workshop. They're their own team. They have to make this content, So they're going to have to get into the swing of that. Just like you and I have had to deal with making videos on a semi-regular basis or whatever. Just knowing that workflow, knowing what's going to work, what's not going to work, what kind of shots do I need, like what f-stop should I be shooting at? If you want to get into that.
Yeah, let's get into that. So So the lack of personality. She has personality. She does a very nice reading of the script.
Right. It's still scripted.
She was able to say the sentence, "Do you want to take your chaplains or your primaris justiciars to the next level with armor that will stand out both on the battlefield and in your display cabinet?" She read that line very well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Much better than I could. But still, it was like, ooh, like,
it's just scripted.
I would never choose to use the word primaris justiciar in ever.
Yeah, well, because you obviously stumbled over it, right?
That was written by a corporate. Yeah.
It's like keywords. Come on. Yeah.
But okay, so that's minor. The biggest and most fair criticism of the masterclass is whoever's working the camera.
Unfortunately, yeah.
And so backing up here, it is hard to get good fit footage of painting minis. It
Even
took
doing
both
it
of
for
us
years,
a long
it's
time
still
to figure
hard.
it out. There is a lot of trial and error. Right now, with my system that you can, go see if you check out my behind the scenes video.
Your vlog,
Whoever's filming the masterclass, go watch my behind the scenes video. You'll see how to set up the camera to get like pretty good shots. But if you watch some of that masterclass, the shots of the actual mini painting are not as good as you or me or Miniac or Ninjon or any other YouTuber. For the entire face painting video, it's the table that's in focus.
It's almost the entire video too, and I can tell when they're cutting back, they're trying to compensate. Like I know you were talking about some grain in there, and I think it's because they're trying to sharpen the image, and it's just not getting because it's not in focus. Like your table is looking real sharp right now. Yeah, but they couldn't fix it.
And so painting a head is extra hard because that is a smaller, an even smaller object than a mini. But from what I was able to see, Louise is doing a really good job keeping her hands in one place, painting, getting a lot of angles and under and over things while keeping her hands in one place, which is a difficult skill to learn, and she's doing a good job. But whoever's back there with the camera is not doing their part.
If anything, whatever they're monitoring, I think that's probably what it is. Whatever they're monitoring the actual filming on, it's probably not big enough for them to even notice, because like everything that you do at that scale, that zoomed in, looks different when you put it on a TV or even just a computer monitor. It's like, oh, that's what this actually looks like. Like on my little monitor that I'm monitoring to make sure I'm in focus, like sometimes it's not because you can't tell at that size. Like you need to blow that thing up so you can see what it actually looks like, what your quality is at. Like you need to shoot with enough light and all of these things to make sure that it focuses properly.
Yeah. So, and that's, in some ways, that's an easy mistake to make. Like your focus is in the wrong place. You film the entire thing without noticing. That's the footage you have. You gotta make
that's
a
video one out the gate,
week.
Though. Right. Well, yeah. If that was actually the case, I don't know what kind of scheduling they have. I would have hoped that they've been doing this for a while, for a few months before. But
I'm actually really curious. Yeah, I assume they had like a handful of episodes ready to go, and I am curious like which filming was done first. So for all of this is a learning curve. It is hard to get into filming mini painting because there's a lot of skills you got to develop. And so I'm curious which came first. So the backgrounds in these shots, I mean, I made a big deal about it when I figured out that black poster board is far superior to white poster board as a backdrop for painting minis. Like that was a revelation for me. and I am serious that the quality of my shots like tripled.
Oh yeah.
When I made
Once
that
you
change.
got that like stabilizer that you put up, you got the black background, you got the lights on the rig that they're steady, you got the camera in the same place every time. Dude, like your shots have been like consistently some of the best of any of us. And I think because you put in a lot more effort than like pretty much everybody else. Like even Scott's stuff, like he'll drop the camera, it's on a swing arm, but it's still he's painting on the desk. So like he screws up or his head gets in the way, or like I do that all the time.
Yeah.
But like having that like really static setup with the nice background looks amazing.
Well, thank you, Casey. I mean, this has been a learning curve. It's been trial and error. But once I trialed my error into the setup that I have now, yeah, like, oh, this is working. This is how to film minis.
You have solved
some point,
this
at some point,
thing,
I'll make some tweaks and additions. But for now, like, yeah, this is pretty good. And the masterclass filmers are not there yet. So
right, you need to watch your vlog.
So they're using the backdrop of essentially the table, a couple inches behind Luis's hands, and between different episodes, there are 3 episodes up right now. I think one of them has the white parchment paper of a wet palette as the backdrop. One of them has, and I think they put in like a piece of black plastic to be a backdrop, like that's the purpose of it. And I think one had just like their black painting mat or something in the backdrop, but yeah, they have not standardized their backdrop, which is one thing, which is seriously changing the quality of their footage between different shots. And also, man, so we talked about the focus on the head painting, but on the black power armor, oh, that is very grainy footage. You want to talk about that, Casey? Like,
so, well, I mean, it kind of coincides with all this, like, something that we figured out with certain kind of lenses to film that stuff, and what you need in focus and what you don't want in focus, how much light you need, how much ISO, like all these technical things. Like, you start boosting your ISO in a camera, and essentially you're making fake light because you don't have enough on your model, or you're trying to stop your footage down so that everything is in focus instead of just like a little quarter of an inch piece. The problem with that is that there's a very fine line that you kind of have to like find at almost every time, which is a little weird unless your setup is, like I said, more consistent like yours is. But you have to find this line where your footage isn't grainy, that you have enough light, but you're also you're shooting at a high enough f-stop that everything's in focus at the same time. So it's a weird balancing act that they essentially just missed completely for that particular video, and it's like it just looks bad, Yeah, it just doesn't look good.
And again, this is not necessarily stuff that other people would catch, but Casey and I spend a lot of time iterating on this and like, evaluating our own footage and like, okay, this is not as good as the last time I did it. What have I been doing this different here? How do I fix this? How do I improve on this? And we spend a good deal of our time thinking about these things. And
every week I have to go through, is this working? Where do I need to be? Where's this balance? How much light do I have? Do I need to add something that I didn't have before? Yeah. And the reason that it changes too is because, well, what if I am painting black armor? What if I am painting Caucasian skin? Well, that changes a lot of things, because all of a sudden, like, there's light bouncing off more light reflective pigments. And it sucks. Like I got a comment one time that was like, oh, you painted red on red on red and some orange with a, like a mirrorless camera. That's pretty brave, because it kind of melds together, right? The actual sensors in our cameras can't necessarily differentiate that much contrast. So certain things just don't show up the right way, right? Or there's not enough light bouncing off of it to create the image that you actually want, sharp, non-grainy image. So painting black power armor and trying to get specifically, and I think the problem was that they were trying to get the Incubi darkness to show up on the camera, and it wasn't.
Maybe.
Yeah. So trying to change the settings to get that did not work for them.
Yeah, but my take on that, so what we're talking about here, if you ever do check out Warhammer Plus Masterclass, the black power armor, look at the black primed Space Marine. It is great. It's like static, essentially. It's like if you take your cell phone camera and you try to film a dark bar at night. Go to a bar at night with your like cheapest cell phone camera. Like go get the cell phone you were using 8 years ago. See if it powers up. See if it'll hold about half an hour of battery. Go to a bar late at night, mask up, and just get a little bit of footage in dim light. And the like static, the graininess, that is a result of the sensor in the camera trying to adjust for that low light. And there's only so much
not
you can
enough
do.
light
There's the
information.
technological limitation there. And when I was watching that clip from Citadel Masterclass, like I have some actual suggestions. Like if any of these people are listening to me, if the camera person is listening, like it's a learning curve. There's no shame here, but here's what you got to do. Like,
yeah, exactly. So, I think we should probably reiterate that. Like, we're not at all being like, oh, this is just trash, you shouldn't even watch it. Like, no, this is just from our like technical point of view, right?
Yeah, they're selling a premium product here, but they have not. It's not up to the quality of the current generation of YouTubers right now. Well, you'll get there. You'll get there. Like everyone else has figured it out. You'll get there. But
well, that's essentially what they did, right? They jump started several YouTube channels.
Sure. Yeah. And so, it looks like their f-stop number is too high. Like they're trying to get everything in focus to make it easier for Louise so that she doesn't have to worry about, moving her hands a little bit forward or backwards. But honestly, she's doing a great job keeping her hands in one place. So you can have a smaller depth of field, have a lower f-stop number, open up the aperture, and that's going to let more light in so that your ISO can be lower, so that your, sensor's not trying to adjust for lower light levels.
Or you get a lot more lights, like a lot.
It seemed really well lit.
And it probably was, but that's the only other thing you can do in that situation.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out. I think they actually are filming right there at the casting desk. It's clear that she's doing all of her like talking head and voiceover stuff at the same time. Like it's clear that she's just sitting down for an hour and doing all of the talking head voiceover stuff from the teleprompter, because the stuff in front of her isn't changing from shot to shot.
Right. Well, which means that they're doing all that stuff after the fact. So she's just going down, and they're like, "All right, paint a face." Cool, and then we'll make it. And I
think the actual painting is happening right there at that desk. I think so.
It could be.
Like I think there's like a rack mounted camera above her left shoulder somewhere. I think
which I don't like this. I don't like it. So I don't like that angle. Like
I thought the angle.
I don't know. Warhammer TV, they've got it. Like they've got it on the table and it's in a space. I don't know. Seems like they already had this figured out, and I'm not sure why they're actually starting over, I guess.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, so one that, like I said, the browser video app that they're using does not give you a lot of information. I assume it's a 1080p video. I assume it's a 1080p. I don't know for sure.
It would be rendered down as 1080 most likely, yeah. Yeah.
So again with like things you can do is, this is what Scott Miniak does, is he films in 4K and then he does a crop in to a quarter of the screen, like a zoom in, and takes the 1080p worth of footage that he really wants, and that becomes his video. And so if you widen out the shot, if you widen out the frame like that, more stuff is going to be in focus. So you can have widen out the shot, you widen the aperture, you can still get a decent depth of field, but then what you do in the editing is you just crop down from 4K to the best 1080 that you want in there.
Pretty much.
Just trying to help, guys. Just trying to help. You'll get there. You'll get there. Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what I do. I shoot in 4K and I center it and zoom it in till I get 1080 and then export everything as 1080. You can't tell the difference anyways, and it looks good. So
there you go.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, been doing that for years. Even shooting on a cell phone, man. Like you get 4K on a cell phone that looks pretty good with enough light. Like I used to shoot all of my videos and edit everything, including voiceover, on my phone. Man, those are the days.
Mm-hmm.
We gotta talk about that sometime. Like what it was like in the beginning compared to now.
Hey, I'm impressed. Yeah,
it's insane.
Yeah.
Or those old animatics you used to have on your videos? With
what?
The gate that would go? The old animatics you used to have, the gate that would go up in front? Come on, man.
Yeah, I got to get my friend Alex on the channel at some point. Yeah, my friend Alex went to school for a little bit of like computer animation and stuff. And so there was one time where I needed to like drive him 2 hours from the airport or something late at night. And the payment was you gotta get my sweet animation for the start of my YouTube channel. And I used it on I think the first 9 episodes of my channel, but it was welcome to Goobertown, and then there's like a gate and a portcullis that shut
so
stuff.
Good.
Looks sweet and like
it was so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, man.
Which honestly, Warhammer TV, talk to me. You can get that clip, throw that on the front of your throw that in the front of your videos. That looks pretty sweet. Right
there you go. Yeah, fix all your problems.
We're talking.
Yeah.
So I did want to close this segment by saying that the lesson design, I thought the lesson design was pretty good. I guess you wish there was a little bit more about how to finish drawing the owl on some of those videos, but
my only problem is jumping to that conclusion without saying we'll cover some of this other stuff in later videos, or or just stopping where they were and just being like, yeah, this is what we were to accomplish. And if you said, hey, go ahead and like, you fill in the rest of the details, it's going to look sweet. And I know that they probably didn't want to just be like, oh yeah, fill in the details and it'll be better. They wanted to do that, to show that. But the problem is, well, now you're showing a bunch of stuff and doing other things to the thing that you did beyond, like, and now it gets lost.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just add more highlights to the thing. Why would you do that without telling? Okay. Yeah. So that's my issue with that. But like, as far as the actual, like, steps and following and learning something, like, I think it's done very well.
Yeah. Like I said, I learned something from all 3 of those painting videos so far. I am glad that series exists. I wish them the best of luck. Overall, as far as whether I recommend Warhammer Plus, I think it's worth treating it the way that you treat CBS All Access or Paramount Plus. You go in once a year. You see the one episode of Star Trek Discovery that they uploaded during that last year, and you remember to cancel before you get billed again. Like I think that's a fair way to do it. Yeah. Because even now it's been out, they've had kind of 3 weeks worth of releases now, and there's still like 3-4 hours of content on there. There's like a lazy Sunday worth of content on there now.
I watched it today because I had a couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did,
because
I didn't watch any of it, and Brent's like, hey, we should talk about Warhammer Plus. I'm like, I haven't seen it or any of it, and it's like, oh, no worries. Like it took me a couple hours to knock it out.
Grab a soda pop and knock it out. Yeah,
literally, including the tutorials. I watched the tutorials on how to play each game, which I have some things on that, but it doesn't really matter.
Those aren't exclusive. Those are just on their regular YouTube channel too,
which is fine. And why I really don't care. They need to be more in depth. If you're going to have a section, make it in depth. Actually teach me how to play, not just the kind of like off the cuff. Oh yeah, that's fine. Rules. Like, no, you're missing half of them. I can't do that. That's not a proper video, but whatever. that's on their YouTube channel anyway, so I can learn how to
Yeah.
play from Ash.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like that Space Marine show. I got some enjoyment out of watching that.
Yeah, I did. I've enjoyed
the
it so
painting
far for the
series.
most
I think
part.
is good. But for all of this, they don't have a library yet. They have yeah.
Yeah, no black
They have an
library yet.
evening's worth of entertainment and education for you. So come back in 6 months, a year. You can, by then you can still definitely watch all of their content in a week, and then you can, cancel again and come back in 2024, So
Well, but don't forget the mini that you get for signing up.
Oh, come on, Casey. What are you doing chilling over here? Yeah.
What are you talking about? No, actually, what I was going to say is, all of this being said, all the bullshit, I don't pay for this service. It's free. Like, if you were already paying for, like, the Warhammer apps, like, if you're paying for Azir, like, the Age of Sigmar app or the Warhammer 40,000 app, both of those together was more money than this app is. So they come with this subscription for less money. Therefore, for me, this is free.
Yeah.
And I got a free mini.
I've never tried out the app. I thought about downloading it to really prepare for this episode of Paint Bravely, the podcast, but I didn't.
Right.
So
couldn't. That's fine. I mean, I use the Sigmar app's great. The 40K app is trash, but the Sigmar app I actually like.
They don't have do they have the Sigmar app up now for Warhammer Plus or not?
Yeah, it's the same one.
Okay.
It's just included now.
Okay, cool.
I'm just saying,
cool.
for the same price, you basically are just getting Warhammer Plus and a model for free. So I'm just saying,
if you
that's my perspective on it. Like, it actually means nothing because I am not technically paying for it.
Yeah, that app is like more rule books. So if you want even more rule books that you're not going to read,
oh yeah, I do.
You basically
I downloaded
nothing.
them.
Yeah.
Well, see, because like
free.
Instead of going and buying the battle tome for like $50, it's like $10 on there, and I get a PDF. And it unlocks all of the actual rules for like the specialty stuff or the whatever to build armies with. So I know Brent's like
www.battlescribe.com.net/
Battlescribe is great, by the way. It is fantastic. And although the update for Kill Team, the new Kill Team, is super confusing. It doesn't make any sense. Yeah, actually the compendium book that Games Workshop put out makes way more sense than that does. Okay. Which is weird. It's not normal. That's super backwards. Like, Battlescribe is great. And I have that on my phone too.
Okay. Well, you know what, Casey? I think we did it.
I think we did too. I think we got there. I think we kind of shit on this whole thing, but also we said some nice things
into an episode. We had a topic of the day. We eventually got to the topic of the day. We apologized for the previous couple weeks worth of episodes.
That's true. Well, at least last times, yeah.
We can't expect that you'll forgive us, but we hope that someday you will. And we want to thank you so much for watching and giving us another chance.
Someday we're gonna make a true apology video, and we won't. It's gonna be a whole thing.
What last thing before we close out? What last thing?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to talk about the 3D printer Kickstarter?
I can, because
the only thing I wanted to mention. So this is the second. There are now 2 3D printer companies doing Kickstarters for their new printer. Is that correct?
Yeah. So okay. Anycubic reached out to me a while ago, and they're like, "Hey, on the down low, we got this DLP printer. Like, we will legit send you one first." They sent me one. It's super pre-production. It shit you not, like, it broke. It doesn't work. One of the ribbons completely fell off the board, and they're like, "Can you rewire that?" And I'm like, I cannot. So they're like, "All right, we'll just send you a new one." And this is like this week. I got a message on my Discord server for my Patreon. It was like, so Elegoo is coming out with a new printer and doing a Kickstarter. and it's Texas Instruments DLP. It's literally the same exact guts on the inside. So Anycubic
Nice.
and Elegoo, back-to-back Kickstarters, same printer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
we've
an
talked about
interesting
this
world.
before, but yeah, the printer technology is coming along so fast, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it's coming along so fast that I don't know if you really want to kickstart it. Like,
well, so the way that they explained it to me was like, well, the reason we're doing this is because it's a special printer, and this is like, we have to do this in order to bring this to market in a specific way, because it's not like we can just sell it normally, which is like the biggest load of shit I've ever heard. They even gave me like this little script to read out for a video. Of course, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it's like, and now Elegoo has the same fucking printer
and reconnect the main wire
Holy
ribbon
shit.
to the motherboard.
I've opened it like 5 times.
I had to do a little bit of surgery on the my Anycubic Mono after I first got it.
Right, because like one of the things was
again.
unplugged.
I think I need to do it again, is reconnect the ribbon to the, but now of course it's all covered in resin, so it's going to be a nastier job. But
right, yeah, and of course once I reconnected the ribbon, the shit didn't work at all.
This is the cost of having cheap technology, cheap disposable, ever evolving technology.
Yeah. So I'm what I'm gonna do, because Elegoo also emailed me this morning and asked, weirdly, they're like, hey, we really like your channel. We think that you'd be a good fit for, you know how they do that stuff. They're like, would you like to try our like legit, I kid you not, like 4-year-old, 5-year-old printer, like one of their first normal Elegoo, like one, like it's like
still got some of those hanging around, huh?
Yeah, it's like I got a Photon S around here. It's like $100 right now. It's like the equivalent to that, and I'm just like, no, but can you send me that 6K printer you got? So, like, yeah. I'm basically gonna ask them like, hey, like, Anycubic sent me their DLP printer. I know you have one, so either you can send me that, so I have two. Actually, I was thinking about if I did that, I'd probably just pick which one I liked better and then do a giveaway for the other one, just send it to somebody, because why not? But if I could convince them to send me their 6 or 8K printer to do an actual comparison to the DLP stuff, I think that would be worth doing.
Did you see the only reason I wanted to talk about this? Did you see when their Kickstarter is launching?
Soon.
September 11th.
Oh yeah, September 11th. Sons of bitches. That's the Anycubic one, right? I don't know when the Elegoo one is going.
It's 1400 UTC time on September 11th, and I was like, oh no, what? So like oh no, if I plug this in, right? What time's that going to be? Google, what time is 1400 UTC?
See, I saw it at 7 or 6 in the morning. What time was it? It was 3 hours ahead. So what time is the Kickstarter starting? It was like 10.
In between the 3rd and 4th plane. Yes, 10. That's 10 a.m. New York time on September 11th, 2021.
At the literal 20th anniversary?
Yeah.
With the
just in between the 3rd and 4th plane on the 20th anniversary. But I mean, hey, never forget. You'll remember that's when that Kickstarter launched. All right. Well, on that kind of terrible. Speaking of apology videos, like, no, I mean,
we're sorry.
You can't just not do business on like multiple days out of the year because bad things happened in history.
No, I know.
There's a little bit of like, just maybe, just push it. Just even push it a couple hours back,
Exactly. Like doing that later afternoon, like something, or just the next day or the day before. How about that? Do it the day before.
Like September 11th in like, 2020 or 2022. Like, okay, that's a little.
Yeah.
Like on the.
But you're just hitting on all cylinders on this one. You can't do that.
Exactly, like to the minute 20th anniversary. Come check out our 6K printer. Like, I mean, in the scheme of things, like, all right, like, yeah, like,
look, it probably didn't even occur to them, honestly.
yeah.
Like, cause I mean, come on, you know they didn't.
I mean, I don't
about it.
know, like I assume in other countries it is still like a well-known historical event.
I would think so, but
And
then again, I don't know.
So, like, the thing I was trying to compare it to is like, I know like a really bad like protest and massacre happened in Tiananmen Square. I don't know
Sure.
exactly when it happened, but like in like popular knowledge, the name for that event is the Tiananmen Square massacre. And at least in English, the defining like name, the way it is described in the history books, is the September 11th attacks. And I don't know how that translates in different countries. Actually. Like, just if you're typing in like a launch date for your Kickstarter, September 11th, man, that rings a bell. Why does that, like, Google that? Why is that? I've heard 9/11. That yeah. Like, is that?
No, I could see that. I could see that as being a little bit more. Probably
not a huge deal in the scheme of things. It's just like,
no, it's just. I am
always interested in PR disasters. Like, I always, it tickles me. So I just
I mean, look, like if you want to really get into PR in general, like just how many companies jumped on 9/11 and why it's called 9/11 or September 11th, and the fact that the Twin Towers are basically an 11, that they then can make that into a t-shirt is a whole thing on its own. So like, you want to get dark? Like, yeah. Anyways, I don't want to end like that.
We'll
That's
apologize
horrible
for this next episode, but for now, we gotta close it out.
Thank you again for joining us on another episode of Paint Bravely. If you enjoyed this podcast, please help us out by leaving us a review on iTunes, subscribing to the YouTube channel, and sharing this message with your hobby friends. And as always, we appreciate each and every one of you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
We appreciate you. We'll talk to you next time.
Also, I apologize. I'm sorry. I'm sick for this episode. I'm sure you've noticed.
It actually didn't come across. I'm sorry too. I don't know exactly what we did this time, but we're sorry. Like,
I'm sorry.
Just if you ever need that clip, we're sorry. I'm sorry. We're sorry.
Maybe we should preemptively make a sorry video and post it just to do it.
Yeah, like a get out of jail free card. Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have to say for what. We're just saying sorry for last week's unfortunate, problematic events. Like, doesn't even matter what it is.
It seemed like a good idea at the time. Everything seems like a good idea at the time.
In the moment.
In retrospect, we should have known better.
We should have been more mature.
We're ashamed. And nothing we can say will make it right. But we want you to know that we're trying. We're trying.
We are trying. Yeah. And we're sorry.
Yeah. And we hope that you will listen to episode 41. Can't be worse than episode 39, so...
Probably not.
Presumably. I technically could.
I absolutely could. I could have forgotten to turn my camera on. We'll see. I'm going to shut this down now.
You know what, Matt? This is for you. We're sorry.
That's true. I mean, honestly, if you want to, we should make an apology for anybody. It's for Matt. Like, for the amount of stuff that, like, we do, or like leave spaces in, or whatever the case is. The amount of noise that I've caused on this microphone for him to have to sit there and edit out is absolutely ridiculous. I'm sorry, Matt. That's really...
Brothers. All right, I'm going to turn off the camera now, but we're sorry.
We're sorry.